Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're shooting the M2 bow from Topoint. Now the M2 goes right down to 10 pounds and it's adjustable from about 17 to 27. Now I've set this on maximum draw length. Now as you increase the draw length, the poundage increases. So originally when I shot this bow, I shot it on about 21 inches because I need a light poundage. Now I've become a little bit stronger. I've increased it to maximum draw length, which is still too short for me, but we can shoot it. Now I'm just going to run over what I've got on here. I've got a Topoint target sight. Now you can see it's got a little bit of movement in it, so it's a cheap sight. It's roughly $150 for the sight, probably $50 for the scope, and I fitted a little Topoint blade rest. Little peep sight. Now also, as you increase the draw length on this, the angle's going to become more acute. So I found looking through the peep sight a little bit harder than at like the 21 inches. Now originally I shot at 21 inches at 14 meters, and I came to shoot this video and I shot 14 meters to get my sight set, and I shot them all on the gold, so I was like, well, let's go back to 18. Now I will say my sight setting at 18, my arrows were a bit all over the place. So we're hoping this goes okay. So there's a big difference between 4 and 18 in a light poundage bow. Now the arrows I'm shooting, these are Pandarus Topoint, ice point arrows. These are a good quality arrow. The problem is they're for a 60-pound bow. They've got heavy points on them, and I just haven't bothered having the correct arrows. So when they shoot, they're kind of arcing at the target, so it's a bit like clout. Now moving back 4 meters affects my sight about that much at this poundage, which is minimum poundage. So normally when I shoot 60 pounds, the poundage, the sight's at the same spot. It makes no difference at all. But at the light poundage, it really arcs in. So I've got a basic peep sight. So let's just try it out. Now I'm going to say, because this bow's on light poundage, you can see that like the string's fairly slack on it. So this bow will shoot better as you wind up the poundage, if you put a stabilizer on it, if you shoot light arrows. Okay, so this is basically, if you're shooting this bow and you're a junior, you should be able to kick my butt because you'll have the proper arrows, and hopefully you'll be able to shoot a little bit more poundage than me because I'm on minimum poundage. But let's see how we go and see if you shoot this bow, see if you can outshoot me at 18. So now there's a little bit of wind, but I'm completely steady. Now, why am I steadier with this bow than, let's say, some of the others? It's because when I hit the wall, I'm actually pulling back a bit of poundage, so it's making me a little bit more stable. Now I get it, I'm just going to move the camera because the light might be not good. Let's try moving that way. Now I get questions all the time about draw length and what draw length should you shoot and all that sort of stuff. Look, if you bend your front arm, it's okay. Like you can see my front arm's bent. I haven't found it makes much difference. There's been many world champions in the past who've shot with bent arms. Shoot what you feel comfortable with. If the bow's adjustable, then you adjust it and try and see if you shoot better. I had 2 identical bows. They were PSE Performs, set at different draw lengths. So identical bows, different draw lengths. Just because I didn't really pay much attention, and my draw length may be 28 3/4, and one was on 28 and a half and one was on 29. I shot the same score with both of them. I'm going to say the biggest thing with shooting is form and practice. I don't know how many times I sort of say it. A lot of people worry about equipment. This is a $200 bow set on minimal poundage at 27 inches. It couldn't be more unsuitable for me. Now, why am I shooting this as opposed to the Elite Ember? Because when I adjusted the Elite Ember to 29 inches, it was 27 pounds and that was too heavy for me. But I'm starting to get stronger now. My chest is feeling better. I'm starting to feel a little bit in the back, which is good. That's where we want to feel it. So hopefully soon we'll be able to move up to the Elite Ember to shoot. Now sometimes when I do these reviews, I get really good results when I do reviews. And often I'll go and grab my target bow after I do the video and see if I shoot as well with my target bow. And often I won't. And I suppose the reason for that is there's very little difference between bows, and like stabilizers will give you a bit in the wind, a shorter distance, not so much. Like my sight pin's completely stable at the moment. It's just sitting in the tent, it's just sitting there, and I'm just executing the shot. Even though it's like under 20 pounds, and I didn't shoot this well in practice. Like the arrows, I had two groups and they were pretty good, decent groups. One was high and one was low. And I put that down to the peep sight and just not feeling right. I felt like I was getting the position in my hand right here, but not the peep sight. And one, I'd get the peep sight right, but not the hand position. So I was getting two groups. That was my theory. Now, I actually don't mind a bit of a bent arm because when I take the shot, it kind of pushes forward. So it's like a push-pull mechanism. So I'm pulling back and I'm pushing forward. And when I break, it's doing this. It's expanding. I don't mind it. You'll see a lot of top recurve shooters will shoot with bent arms. Now they've got a clicker to get the shots off. A lot of compound shooters will do it. Originally, I shot with bent arm because I used to have elbow problems. So I used to shoot with it fully extended, and then I had like tennis elbow. So then I started bending my front elbow to reduce the pain in my elbow, and it worked. It absorbed a bit of the shock, and I had no more elbow problems. So that's where I aimed it. It was in the middle. It was in the middle. And then when I took the shot out, the sight pin moved out. And that's because I was pushing and pulling. I thought the shot had gone off. And the sight pin was in the 8. And that's all part of shooting a back tension release. So, a couple more shots. Okay, one more. I don't know what I felt then when I pulled it back. I felt a crack of something. But the limbs on these bows are pretty good. They're American limbs from the same company who makes all your PSE limbs and Gordon Glass limbs. So they're the same limb as what's on all your bows. The bow feels quite good to shoot. Look, it's not a bad little bow. It's nice and light. For me, it's just a little bit short, but I can still shoot it. I would prefer a longer bow to shoot because the string angle is quite acute, so it is hard to look through on the peep sight. I would say the grip is quite narrow, which is good for young people, because young people are going to have small hands. The narrow grip means you don't get any left and right talking. So for ladies and kids with smaller hands, it'll be good because the bigger grips they consume so much of your hand, you're more likely to torque the bow. Let's take the last shot and see where the arrows are. So I've got a feeling they're pretty good, and I haven't literally shot. Okay, let's go down and have a look. Okay, so I'm up here at the target. Look, I am so impressed with that group. Look, they're all in the gold, except for the 1.8, which I shot in the 18 meters. That's awesome. It's a pretty tight grip, so I probably could have moved my sight across a little bit, but it's pretty good. Now, as you increase your poundage, you're going to get less left and right movement, because the bow's more susceptible to movement with the lighter poundages. But if you can shoot like that with a beginner bow, beginner compound at 18 meters, and that's pretty basic equipment, you're going to be looking pretty good. So as you add a stabilizer, start off with low weights, gradually build it up, increase your bow strength, so wind the bow up slowly. Proper arrows will help, because these arrows are arcing a big, like 1 meter. If I stand back 1 meter, it affects it that much on the target. It's a big difference with this bow as far as distance is concerned. Whereas the bow becomes faster, so if you have lighter arrows, the speed will be improved. So these arrows will be probably half the speed of what arrows are suitable and you should be using for the bow. Now, it doesn't make much difference. So I'm going to say for a recurve bow, huge difference on spine and all the shootability. With a compound, it doesn't make much difference because the arrows are shooting straight, because it's being released with a release aid as opposed to your fingers. When you release a string with the fingers, it's going like this. When you release it with a release aid, it's going straight. So spine is less critical with a compound than a recurve. However, you pick up more speed and you pick up a little bit more accuracy, but not a lot with a compound. So that's the Topoint M2. Feels good to shoot. More than happy shooting it. The bow's a little bit short for me as far as small. The draw length's a little bit short at 27 inches. I'm 29 normally, but you can still get excellent results with cheap arrows, cheap sights, cheap arrow rests. Now, when it comes to putting a better sight on your bow, it just comes to how much money you want to spend, and I wouldn't really fork out big money until you're like very serious into the sport. So, you know, practicing all day, entering competitions, like that sight's going to be great for base shooting until you're ready to compete, and 1 or 2 points in a round's going to make the difference for you. Even though the sight moves a little bit, doesn't matter, because every shot's going to be the same. It's not like moving up or down on the shot. So yeah, so I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and remember, the more you shoot, the better you shoot. Thanks for watching. Bye.